the man Alexander was an actor, and he was really struggling with his own vocal issues, and basically was unable to function as an actor. So he was very motivated to sort out his particular problem in order to free his voice and be able to be successful as an actor. So, for that reason, I think actors in particular, it's such useful work for them. But I think any performing artist who really, uses pretty much their entire being, whether it's a dancer or an instrumentalist, because the technique is so geared towards functioning in an optimal way, it's particularly useful for people in the performing arts. I was a dancer and I had trouble with my knees. And like Alexander, I went to doctors and they couldn't really find anything wrong. And someone recommended Alexander and I sort of instantly responded to it. I mean, in my very first session, I had immediate relief from the pain that I was feeling. And then gradually over time with that study, I realized how much my habitual patterns and the way I was using and moving myself, and particularly again in dance with jumping and leaping and things like that, were what was contributing to my knee problems. So it really was a way out of the particular issue that I was dealing with. I think there's just sort of immediate feedback. If I can put my hand on someone when they're in the midst of singing and then they're able to recognize perhaps that they're tightening their neck or pushing, trying to get the sound out, there's the possibility that they can release and free up, and generally there's instant, response, and they can hear a difference. I mean, I think it's really useful to have a tutorial in terms of getting the absolute individual focus on what people are dealing with. So while there are a lot of commonalities in the issues that students struggle with, in a way, each person has their own unique way that they move and think and sort of get in their own way. And so in the one-on-one, we can really focus in on what their particular needs are. I also think that in the individual tutorials, people feel that over time, as they get to know me and get to understand what the process is, a certain level of safety, which isn't to say that the classroom isn't safe also, but there's just a lot more going on and they're performing for their peers and for the teacher. And so I think the one-on-one tutorials in some ways is a kind of refuge, even though it's also, I'm demanding that they be present for half an hour, working with me. But yeah, I think there's a certain kind of safety in that, which is, helpful as they navigate all the ups and downs and challenges of their other classes. There's also an element of recuperation, learning how to recuperate in Alexander. Some of that is done in the lying down hands-on work, but that's also a practice that I encourage them to do on their own. And I think, acting is demanding, and so I think the flip side of it is knowing how to recuperate and a certain kind of self-care, which I think is a big piece of the Alexander work. And my hope is that they internalize that, and so also as they go out into the world and navigate the profession, that they can, they know when to rest and how to regenerate and come back for the next demand. So yeah, a sort of piece of recuperation and self-care. The level of sort of curiosity and openness to exploration in the students here is just remarkable, and it's very just kind of exciting for me as a teacher to be engaging with that type of student who's just so open to the work.